Hi. Hello. So today's Friday. I'm curious about what you got. So who's going to be presenting?
Uh, all three of us are
Okay.
at one point or another. Okay, I'm gonna start. All right. So our plan for the week was to hit rubric. We attempted to accomplish it by splitting up like our components into manageable pieces, so that we could all kind of work independently and then work together to incorporate them. Did we accomplish it? We didn't hit rubric. We scored a 1 this week. We did, I think, build out most of the components. We don't have everything functioning. What did we learn? I think we learned that the scope of a project can quickly blossom and get out of control as you keep working on it, to the point where, and I'm speaking only for me, but it's probably for everybody else too, when you're coding and actually building the thing, you think about things differently than when you're planning it. So even all of our extensive planning, which we did, extensive planning, did not always, take into consideration the actual building of things. So, that kind of puts you behind where you're like, oh, well, now I need to do this, now I need to do that. So I don't know, I think that maybe what we learned was, you need to think about things from multiple aspects, I guess, while planning, and maybe do better, I don't know, walkthroughs of what is actually going to have to go into the build process. I don't really know. But code is code, and it's fine. It's a learning process at this point for all of us. So that's what I've got to say. I think in the end, we're all happy with it. We all worked really hard. We all put in extra hours this week. So I think that even though we got a 1, we're happy with where we're at. We're at where we're at. So that's it. So, okay, Kat, on to you.
Hi, I'm gonna share my screen to do the walkthrough. So this is our page when you first come to it. There's a beautiful Auth0 log here. And as soon as I just type my email address, which I'm like, I can't remember my email anymore. My picture pops up, it welcomes me, really love it. I'm not going to log in because there's a little issue with Auth0 that we're having, but I have it logged in so you can see that later. So if I had been logged in and if we had the button set up perfectly, this is how you would go. This is not all fully functioning, again, because we're trying to tie this to the Auth0. So this is the first part, though, is tell us who you are. If you're a student, you're just going to go to a landing page and not continue on with this site. It would just be to get the information so that the messages could be sent to you. Teachers, country, and board members will have access to the remaining stuff. So the first part when you're signing up is what's the name of your organization. This week, one of our teammates had a death in the family. So in the process of the conversion and stuff like that, stuff that I had worked on earlier, I didn't realize that he had gone back and things had been changed. So right now on the Netlify, as part of our project, this is what this looks like. But originally it was like this. So we could, if we couldn't find the organization in the ones here, we could say, Ed, let's see, just a script, right? And add it here. And it's not going to do it on this one, but then if I come over here, what's the name of my organization? Let's see, that's not going to work. Oh, I have to refresh it here. Oh, come on, slow. It is showing there. And the same thing with the create a group. This is how it looks on Netlify at the moment. This is how it was earlier in the week, and it's the same kind of thing. So unfortunately, when we go to our dashboard, this is the one that we have that for a made-up account, and then this is actually one that I've done through the Auth0 with a an account connected to me, sorry. What we have here this is message, so you can compose a new message and send it out via SMS, which was working, may still be working, except I had to turn off my phone because our scheduling, we sent out about 180 messages within 10 minutes. So I had to block the number on my side because I couldn't figure out the curl request to cancel these.
Oh, man.
So apologies, it may be working, it may not, but we can move on. We had it up and working last week. So this is if it's scheduled, so you'd be able to have like the date and the approved and the delete with it, and to schedule more of this. And these things are right now from the database, all three of these tabs, and it's a conditional rendering based on a Boolean if schedule is true or false, templates true or false, or drafts are true or false. This is a recap of this page as well, so that when a user is looking at it, they can get a quick recap here of what messages are going out, since that's the most important thing. We also have an ability to add and delete people through here, which James did and was surprised to see his name down here after he had done it. And this create group, like I said, I don't think it's functional, and part of it is because of being a logged in user. Things are harder to work here versus if I'm logged out, I'm able to do the things. So we're going to have to do some Auth0 stuff. And I think that's pretty much a walkthrough of most of the things. So Katie, if you want to go through the technical side of it.
Sure. So leading off from last week, we went into this week needing to get the scheduler doing its job. So I'll just, this is an image of it doing its job on the back end. And we started by, first thing, Twilio had scheduling. We found out that was not the case. And then we learned that Heroku does not recommend using cron, which is the extension for Node.js. In their words, something more high level, like something that comes with Python or Java, is preferable to the way that they have their cloud system set up. And so because I've already gone through CS and I actually really like Python, I said, I'll do it in Python. Because their scheduler would have been restrictive, and it would have also tied our client to Heroku in a way that I didn't think was really the best option. And it was going to be learning something new either way, so I went with the Python decision. And I'm really happy with what we came up with. So I'm very excited about it compared to all of the tutorials I went through, because what I ended up with is something actually pretty simple, really scalable and easy to implement and easy to work on if you're a programmer coming in. So we have a class of scheduled reminder, which is creating an array of objects that represent each individual reminder that will be sent through the Twilio API. And then the worker class is doing all of the work for that. We had issues. I had some issues getting connected to the Postgres database, and what I realized was I could already just use the API that we already created to get the information. And I was pleasantly surprised when I was researching to make sure about things around scaling, that this is a solution that is often used if you want to give the ability for an application to scale, because this gives you the ability to not be tied to one backend. So if you start multiplying out your backends, you've already set it up in a way where you don't need to be interconnected to their database directly, and you'd be working off of an API. Again, so that makes it scalable and easy for other people to use. And if they change backends, then all they have to do is hit the backend. So then we create the messages. So this is just, a standard loop going in and creating a scheduled reminder. Then we go through and we say, hey, does this need to be sent? And what's the time range for that? So this is creating a relative time range based on what time it is right now for the next 7 minutes. Then we're doing some formatting on those inputs. And then we're just filtering and saying, if it's between these two times, flag notification is true. and then we'll use it in the send reminders API. So if it's true, send it. The reason we ended up getting why I attacked my teammate's phone with text messages is because I forgot to pop it off of the array. So the array was continuously growing with messages. And then clock is where this is actually getting run from. This is using the APS scheduler, which was recommended by Heroku and a lot of other people for using for this type of job. We're creating the worker class and bringing in the scheduling, and then get reminders, create the message, see if it requires send, and then send it. And that's that.
I wanted to add one thing. So I talked a lot about the Auth0, but Rachel worked extremely hard on it, and it just was like this last day that something happened, and it may be on my computer crashed and things like that. And she's also been filling in so much on the back end, especially, she has always, but especially with Elisha gone. So like this is just like a last kind of minute hiccup with that functionality.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say, I know that wasn't an issue before. I mean, because I was in contact with James, obviously.
Yeah.
Talking about the project, and I know this was kind of, oh, wait, I should probably stop recording.
Sorry.